What's up, everyone? My name is Mark, and this is Language Come Up, a place where I come up and you do too. So, today we're going to talk about a book that I read not so long ago, or listened to really. It's called The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F. Alright? So, you probably have seen this book. It's this big orange thing that you can find in all bookstores. It sticks out like a sore thumb. Alright? It's a bit witty of a book, and it's actually much more profound than I thought. So today we're going to look at how we can apply this to our language learning. So one of the most important parts in this book is the concept called choose your struggle. So basically everyone wants the results of everything good in life, but we don't really want the process, right? Everyone wants to have great sex, but are we really willing to have these awkward conversations and these weird moments on the way to get there? He says the real question we should be asking ourselves is, what pain do we want to have? The author says that happiness requires struggle and that happiness grows from problems. So real fulfillment is choosing your struggles and trying your best at them. So some people want the body of a Greek god, but are they willing to spend countless hours in the gym and really depriving themselves of some of life's small pleasures in terms of eating, for example? Or some people want to find the love of their lives, but are they really willing to weather rejection after rejection on the path to finding the special one? So the relevant question is not what do you want to enjoy, but what pain do you really want to sustain? Okay, now back to language learning. So, on this Language Come Up channel, we like to talk about all things language learning and the things that really face us today as language learners. So, if you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and do so. Alright, so imagine that you want to be a great speaker of the language, or a competent one, and I imagine that is nearly all of us. You have to think, are you really doing what's necessary to achieve your goals, or are you just spending time with the language in maybe an inefficient way where you could really, if you considered how to do it, you could really be gearing your language learning so you could achieve the goals that you really want, instead of just kind of deceiving yourself since you are spending time with the language. But in life and in language learning, we always need to be questioning ourselves, reflecting. So if you want to be a good speaker of the language, think, am I doing now what it takes to get to that point? You may be surprised by the answer. Maybe you're even putting off speaking because you're just afraid to face the process of communicating with another person and all that entails, all the possible embarrassment. Believe me, I've had a lot of that. So you keep on telling yourself, I'm going to study more, I'm going to do more inputs, and it just becomes a question of procrastination. Oh, I want to get some more input work in, spend a few more months, 3 to 6 months, a year. So when I do start, I'm going to be much better. But be honest with yourself. Is that something you tell yourself? Or is that something that you really want? Are you spending time with your language every day, but not in the exact way that you should for reaching the goals that you want to? Maybe you could do some grammar work that could really help boost your language ability in terms of its accuracy, but maybe you just continue doing, traditional inputs, and I've been very guilty of this one, believe me. You tell yourself, I'm doing language work, I'm getting better just the same. But if I were to redirect how I was going about my studies, maybe I would get to my goals faster. Alright, so productive procrastination is a real thing, believe me. So I really love language learning Twitter. Everyone really is getting the work in, going after their goals, but Facebook, it's a very different thing. I see people arguing about methods, which resources I should do, but lots of them I've seen have not even started learning the language in question or really started in their language learning in general. But they think that they want to learn languages. They're getting that dopamine hit of talking about language learning, but not doing it. I like to actually do both. But most importantly is to do it. Anyway, so maybe these people, or even yourself, you need to question your motivations. Do I really want to learn a language? Languages? Why? You need to analyze your internal motivation and your external motivation. All right? So maybe some of you see yourself at the bar with a bunch of guys and a bunch of girls, and you're just switching into different languages, and the girls want you, the guys want to be you. It's a really cool sight. But do you really want it? Or do you just like the idea of being able to do it? So in the book, Mark Manson, the author, talked about all he had ever dreamt about was being a rock star, being on stage, soloing, having the appraisal of everyone. But at the end of the day, he never did it. And he came to the self-realization that he simply just didn't want it enough. He didn't want the struggle. He didn't want the days full of practice, find band members, build a fan base, travel with all your gear, moving it in and out of vans and venues. He just didn't want that life, and he was being honest with himself. As someone who has learned a foreign language, I can tell you, if this is what you want, then it is worth it. But believe me, you're going to go through a struggle. You're going to go through self-doubt, questioning yourself, embarrassing things. You're going to say, what the heck happened to me? Yesterday I spoke so well. Today I speak like garbage. All right? So are you process-oriented or results-oriented? What are you avoiding doing in your language learning? What thing could you do to really up your game? Maybe being a part of this language learning community, which is mostly beneficial, of course, but even so, maybe we've been made to believe that language learning is fun basically 100% of the time, and we don't have to go through things that maybe we would prefer to avoid. Things in our language learning, right? Maybe it's just not the case. What are you avoiding in your language learning? Are you being a productive procrastinator? If you are, just think about it. Whatever our goals in language learning are, we should be thinking about how we can get there. And we can think about more or less the result that we want to have and backwards engineer it into steps of how we can get there in a timely fashion, or at least a timely fashion that is suitable for us, right? So maybe if your goal is to be able to communicate with people in everyday life, maybe we need to reconsider what we consume, you know? So maybe I prefer, let's say, crime dramas as opposed to slice of life shows. But of course, slice of life is cool, and just by focusing more of my attention on something where I'm going to absorb much more natural language, it's actually doing me so much more, well, it's giving me many more benefits than just watching crime dramas, because the vocabulary associated with that is just not going to be the same. Analyze your study habits, your study routine, and ask yourself, is it taking you where you want to be in the time you want to get there, generally speaking? Is it putting you on the correct path, or are you in detour land? You could be stunting your progress. So we all know that language learning is an enjoyable experience, but maybe it's not 100% enjoyable in all cases. And that's okay. Accept it, embrace it, and get to where you want to go. All right, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like and subscribe, and leave a comment if you would like to see me do more videos of this style. I wish you all the best, and stay on your come up.